After talking to you this morning and watching the show, you're very different from your family, or it just seems that way. What do you think could why do you think you turned out a little bit different than what's being
I'm
portrayed?
a I'm a like I mean, we're similar in a lot of ways, but yes, we are very different in a lot of ways. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. Um, I was just I don't know. I guess I just see things differently. Some things, but we are aligned on a lot of things.
I'll tell you how I
Um,
see it, where I see the difference. You're the
yeah,
guy who don't give a fuck, and I'm just gonna say it. You just don't care. You're like, I'm gonna voice how I feel about what I feel right now, and that's
right,
a lot of balls to stand up to Vietnamese parents, or you're the
right,
youngest in that whole
right,
system. You're the
right, for sure,
yeah.
for sure. Sorry. Yeah, it took a while. Like I wasn't always. I mean, I always had my own opinions. That's. But when you're young, it's called home.
Yeah,
You're like talking back, right?
yeah.
But really, it's just, well, I just have a different opinion. Sorry, it's not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
But they respect that about you too. You can see it in the show. Like people kind of
Yeah, but not when I was younger. When I was
yeah. It's like
younger, it's like I would get my ass kicked for it. But
ironically, you're the youngest one, but like the most quiet, but with the loudest kind of feel. Like you can feel it. Like
yeah, I tend to be observant, and people mistake my quietness for me being aloof. I've been told, like, people think I'm kind of aloof sometimes, but it's just I don't know. I'm just observant, and I tend to think things through pretty quickly, and then I get bored and move on, which I think is why people think I'm aloof. But as far as speaking my mind, of course, I was definitely afraid of my dad growing up, so it wasn't always that way.
hmm.
I do, and when you say don't give a fuck, of course I do give a fuck, but I just will, if I feel something's not right, I'll challenge it. I try to do it respectfully, um, but I don't know. We're all raised in the same household, and so my brother, maybe seeing the way my brother is, made me want to be the opposite. Like we're very different in a lot of ways.
If nobody
Um,
told me about the birth order, I have a lot of commentary. If I just watching and nobody knew, you're like the
yeah,
oldest. You feel like the oldest guy in that family, the oldest.
if I had a
Weirdest
dollar
thing,
for
man.
everybody says that about us. So I don't know. I don't know. I just had a different group of friends growing up too that probably had an effect on me. Like a lot of my friends at the Second Baptist School, for instance,
Mm,
were the rowdy kids and kind of the punk rock kids that that would challenge authority, and some of that rubbed off on me. And also living in New York, some of my roommates were that way too. I lived in
wow,
dorms. I
that is
lived in dorms for the first 2 years, and so a lot of the NYU kids are very, um, I guess you could say, countercultural,
yeah.
or against the man. And so some of that rubbed off in a way, and just to make me kind of learn how to speak my mind whenever I feel it's necessary. Because at the end of the day, I learned you just have to be true to yourself. You have to speak up for yourself, and no one's going to speak up for you. And if you don't speak up for yourself, nobody else will. And then you feel like you may get stuck. Like, for instance, in my sister's situation on this show, covering her divorce. My sister has always been she was by the book,
Yeah.
doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, didn't party, stayed in, studied, very smart, straight A's, 4.0, became an attorney. She went to law school. She ended up going to law school at BU. And, she was by the book. Um, and she sometimes she is afraid to speak up, or just may feel it's disrespectful. So in that instance, I feel like I have to speak for my sister, knowing that I being empathetic enough to understand both how she feels, and knowing the way my dad is, I have to kind of speak, uh, kind of as a translator, I
Yeah,
guess you could say,
yeah, yeah.
between them two, because I understand both sides.
Ironically, from the youngest boy in the family, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just. Plus, it annoys me sometimes when like I know what people are trying to get at, but don't say it. I'm like, just fucking say it. Just say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Like, instead of like having all this tension and like beating around the bush, yada yada yada. Just fucking say it. Like, let's just get to the point. Is
Yeah.
my yeah.
There's so much cultural norms in the Vietnamese world when we communicate with our elders, right?
Exactly. Which I understand, but I hate it. And American is more very direct. It's very direct communication.
More efficient.
Yeah, not only that, and the American way is like, don't apologize for what you feel, right? And the Vietnamese way is like, you feel that, but you're wrong. You're wrong for feeling that. Well, shit. Well, then who's right and who's wrong?
Yeah.
We're raised in both cultures, and I feel, I mean, both sides kind of, I guess, have a valid point, but the
There's
way
no right
I'm,
one. Yeah.
yeah, the more directness, I think, in the long run is a better route, because I guess in parenting, really, the not being direct leaves questions. At least for me, growing up, like what's going on here? Like for instance, earlier I said, "Oh, my dad never said he loved me until I was like 25 years old."
Yeah.
And then so you're thinking, as a young boy, you're like, "Well, does my dad love me? He's never said it before." Because like my mom will say it,
Yeah.
my dad's never said it, but in my mind, I don't understand nonverbal communication when I'm 15, 16. You know what I mean? You just think what you hear. You don't look at the nonverbal cues at that age.
Right.
And so it's like growing up thinking, well, my mom loves me, my dad must not, because my mom says it, my dad doesn't.
Wow.
But in reality, of course, my dad loves me. It's just not verbalized. So, but that has a huge effect, I think, on a young man growing up.